Good evening and thank you for joining us on this latest edition of Daily Politics on Trust TV. I'm Hamza Idris. On this program, we do in-depth analysis of evolving political events and critical government policies for national development. And tonight, we seek to review the recent development update released by the World Bank. In the report, the World Bank estimates that about 139 million Nigerians are living in poverty as of 2025. While the federal government has rejected the report on poverty level, the reality on ground suggests that millions of Nigerians struggle to survive. And the big question is, when will the citizens begin to feel the impact of the reported decline in inflation rate? And beyond the numbers, when will Nigerian economic gains reflect the exact living conditions of the masses? But before the conversation commences, here are some of the day's top stories as compiled by Ibrahim Ismail.
The presidency has responded to a politician and activist, Omoyele Sowore, over his intention to lead a protest at the State House, Abuja, demanding the release of the detained leader of the proscribed indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Commenting on the issue in his verified X handle, presidential spokesperson Bayo Onanuga described Sowore as an anarchist masquerading as a rights activist, accusing him of attempting to incite disorder under the guise of a protest. Onanuga said the move was a deliberate attempt to undermine the rule of law, warning that the IPOB leader's ongoing trial on charges of treason must be allowed to run its lawful course. The All Progressives Congress APC has announced that Enugu State Governor Peter Mbah will officially defect from the People's Democratic Party to the ruling party on Tuesday, October 14, 2025, in Enugu. Suspected Boko Haram insurgents have attacked a military base in Gamdu, Kaga local government area of Borno State. Daily Trust gathered that the incident happened in the wee hours of Friday. The White House has accused the Nobel Committee of placing politics over peace for awarding its most coveted prize to a Venezuelan pro-democracy activist over President Donald Trump. Trump has been outspoken about his desire for the award, taking credit for ending several global conflicts. He regularly brought it up, including during his address to the UN General Assembly in September.
Some updates there, and moving on to our conversation tonight, as we said, is to review the latest World Bank's Nigeria Development Update, NDU, which is generating debates across the country. Let's welcome our guest, Yushau Aliyu, an economist based here in Abuja, the Federal Capital Territory. Yushau, welcome to our studio.
Nice having you, thank you.
And of course, viewers, you will also have the opportunity to contribute to the conversation when we open the telephone line. Yushau, to start with, I'm sure you've gone through the latest, Nigeria Development Update by the World Bank. And straight, they said, of course, there are issues taken up by the government, including the removal of subsidy, allowing the Naira to find its feet on its own and all that. But then the much touted gains being plowed by the government, they said no, Nigerians are yet to feel that impact. What is your take?
My take is not far from what the World Bank has said, because it's an institution which Nigeria is a membership, and not only membership, the same institution has projected a good figure for Nigerian gross domestic product, and it is realistic. Now that they are calling the attention from a report of NDU, from policy to people, that quite of course they appreciated the development based on economic reforms, that is a result. Yes, there is significant development as far as inflation inflation in the economy. Price stability, which is paramount. The central bank must be commended. They are doing a good measures. Macroeconomic aggregate that stabilize price. Government also has done its own best to make sure that there is a reduction in food price temporarily. These are gains. But what the World Bank is trying to assess is that quite appreciative that there is a growth in the economy, but there is need for collective prosperity, which is the target of all economies of the world. So,
collective prosperity.
Collective prosperity. That if the economy is growing, those who are growing the economy should also grow. That's a simple message.
But it appears government isn't comfortable with that perspective, even though, as you said, the government happy that, okay, gross domestic product, which is the wealth of the nation, right? Is positive.
Yeah.
But why will government accept the positive, but then reluctant to accept the reality?
It's traditional to African governance in all cases to have policy statement on issues. It's not far from policy statement, but there is no way you disagree with the fact that there is a need for collective prosperity. That is a simple. Look at the title of the report.
Yeah, the title is, of course, From Policy to People, Bringing the Reform Gains Home.
Excellent. That home represents you and I and the viewer. That's household. All households have effective demand. That effective demand, the purchasing power, is declining with inflation. The gain of controlling inflation by measures taken by the central bank and as well the government itself is yielding results. 20. But it's still high. But notwithstanding, it is good to understand that in governance, if you admit positive report from an institution which you are a member, you have to also consider not rejecting completely, because Mr. Matthew, who is a country director,
yes,
Bagis, is fair to Nigerian economy, because his statement alone is calling attention of investors. His statement alone is calling for confidence by international community to the development that is taking place in Nigeria, and nobody can shy away from it. If you take, for instance, taking inflation from above 34% to 20%, and it is visible.
But people believe that it's just manipulation of numbers, which economists like you can easily do. You know, it's just to change the parameters and then the indices that you think.
Changing macroeconomic parameters has to do with certain potential index that is used. The parameters that are adopted is just an additional or basket of goods which change the rebasing exercise over a period of time. But you and I are aware that last year, November, we are buying pump price at above 1,000. PMS, premium what you and I know that today we are buying it below 1,000. So if you take that as just an instance to check whether there is change, either upward or downward, you can have the answer. You and I know that a bag of 50 kilograms of rice cultivated, produced, and then supplied in Nigeria was above 80,000 naira last year. You and I know that the price is below. So why?
Okay, now let me know. I'm not trying to quote you, but then this is where I think we have to now come to the level of the large chunk of our viewers, especially from this northern part of the country. And specifically, we brought you to the studio because of this, because you can directly connect.
Yeah.
Do you think somebody who is in Mashi in Katsina State, or someone in, let's say, Dan Hassan in Kano State,
yes,
or someone in Hadeja in Jigawa State,
yes,
or someone in Gaidam in Yobe State, who has gone to farm, and then he has brought, his goods home, and he spends, let's say, 120,000 to buy maybe 2 bags of fertilizer,
yeah,
and then the 20,000 on top to buy pesticides and all that, and then the yield now back home, but then it will not even recoup the basics, that is the cost of the fertilizer, which has gone up. Don't you think that, of course, prices of goods have gone down, but then at the same time, no incentive for this same farmer to go back to the farm next year?
A farmer in northern Nigeria is not different from a consumer in northern Nigeria. Because if you go to farm, others go to school. If you go to production line by planting, others go to production line to process. But the gap that existed, as far as your narration is concerned, is that a farmer presently in Mashi or any other location in northern Nigeria is not comfortable. That is what is called price mechanism.
But you agree that the farmer is not comfortable and is not happy?
The farmer is uncomfortable. But the farmer was comfortable yesterday. A consumer who pays effective demand was not comfortable yesterday. And when he is paying today is comfortable. Let me tell you a scenario. Price changes by government policies. Price changes because of natural interventions, or as a Muslim, because of God intervention. Do you understand? It is in Islam, under Islamic economies, if Allah wants you to have more money, He gives you more rain and give you fertile land, and then take away first, and then you have bumper harvest, and then you now have enough output that can make you comfortable. But under what is called monetized economy, monetary policies, fiscal policies always bring tension between cost of production and the profit. This is where the problem arises. Now, if a farmer is not happy today, is consumer happy even today, buying at the price without income?
Good. Now, okay, to break it further, farmers believe that the policy of
importation,
free for all import, because it's free for all. Before they said, okay, wheat, maize, rice, but now even the condiments, you have oil, sesame, soybeans, almost everything.
Yes.
And even people who are doing now feed mill now, people who are rice millers, almost every other person is affected by that singular action of government, and they don't want to talk.
Listen, I am among the proponents that advise government to take immediate measure to protect consumers. Everyone in Nigeria witnessed what was called civil unrest because people cannot cope with what to eat. What is the size of the population of Nigeria? Over 230 million Nigerians. Now let's assume 50% are farmers. And for over 7-8 years, they have made a lot of profit. That profit they made is artificial.
The profit that was made?
Yes, it was artificial in economic sense because they were protected under protectionism. Under normal demand and supply, ceteris paribus, all things being equal, and that is natural law. You allow people to make trade, you allow people to go to farm, you allow people to choose career without any intervention. That is why even Prophet of Islam was allowed at his early age to be trading between Mecca and Syria of today because borders were open. And that is why even when the Pharaoh of Egypt had a dream that he saw famine coming, what he did was, as a Pharaoh, wicked Pharaoh, decided to consult those who have knowledge to give him way out. And they told him, look, the 7 cows, the lean 7 cows is 7 years of farming.
The empowerment.
What you do is you now empower farmers to produce. And after producing, you create 27 sellers and you save those things. And then, the 7 fat cows, which was the beginning, you are going to have a bumper harvest for 7 years. So in each year that you produce, consume, and then take some to sellers, 27 in number. And the 7 lean will take you to a farming season where you cannot have output. Then utilize those output.
What you save for the rainy day.
What you save for the rainy day, and then reduce price. And in all contentions, nobody asks Pharaoh to lock borders. If he had locked borders, his parents will never have chance to even come and purchase food. So even in farming time,
in December 2023,
there are measures you take. Now leave that one as history. We came, we lock our borders in an attempt to make farmers rich. It's wrong. If you are to make farmers rich, give them money from taxpayers' money.
Inflation rate increased by 10.18% higher compared to the 23.75%.
Poor people. When the National Bureau of Statistics gave you statistics that over 133 million Nigerians are exposed to multi-dimensional poverty, meaning that even if you have job, even if you have income, but you cannot make use of it to feed yourself. That is the highest danger that a society can face. Remember, under Human Capital Development Index, the first thing that comes is food, then shelter, then education. Once you are in trouble, even when this report, which was rejected partially or by the government, which I am not in consonant with that rejection, specify that even the income of Nigerians, 70% goes to food. Even as at now, you, myself, and the viewer, 70% of what we are getting is going to food.
But is that normal?
No, it's not normal.
Okay.
And that is the cry of the World Bank, that we have to create better policies to make that prosperity go round.
But is it not the same World Bank that in the first instance said, okay, remove the subsidy you are giving people, allow the vagaries of market forces to determine demand and supply and all that. And in the process, in the last 2 years, they have wiped out middle class. You know, we thank God we are still surviving.
Yeah.
There are people that can't even move from one post to the other. And it's really, World Bank fair at the first instance to ask federal government. And many Nigerians believe that all that happened is just to pave the way for the, systemic loans we are now receiving from them, left, right, and center, because we have, already entered into their trap.
Subsidy regime started with bridging cost, which Gov't today, we are very lucky, is doing it. The bridging cost is to sell product from point A in Lagos to point 1 in Wamako in Sokoto. You sell at the same price. Somebody has to now equate and eliminate the transport cost, so that that is the origin of subsidy. But later it becomes a corruption, multi-billion corruption, consuming 80 million liters daily in the name of subsidy. Look, there is so much magnified waste attached to subsidy. Not only the World Bank. Personally, I am a proponent of removing the subsidy if it will bring us Gov't. Today we have Gov't refinery, and we are all appreciating. So the context here is not what the World Bank told you. Now World Bank is telling government, please consider people. What is wrong with that? When World Bank told Nigerian government remove subsidy, the World Bank told Nigeria to remove subsidy when we have a lot of scandals on subsidy,
We should have done it on our own.
If we are serious enough to do it as people, that magnificent amount of money that was going in the name of subsidy and without seeing the product, they are two different things. You pay because you are paying subsidy, your refinery cannot function. Because you are paying subsidy, you cannot have stability of supply. Because you are paying subsidy, now everybody wants to enjoy from subsidy. So eliminating it, we are expecting, like I said the other time, I'm a proponent of removing the subsidy, but doing the right thing. How do you do the right thing? Please, we are opportune to have this product called crude oil. Now, we have investors who are ready to invest. Why can't we look at the best possible options, not looking at OPEC, not looking at other cartel, and then make sufficiency of this product and sell at right prices? And when you take agriculture, the Chinese economy under Mao Zedong attempted to make farmers to go to farm, not just because he wanted them to sell the product at high prices. China was able to produce what they can eat, what they can export. And let me correct a narration which people refuse to understand, which even our leaders were misguided. Go and Google it. The largest producer of rice on the planet today is China. Go and find out who is the largest importer of the same rice. You'll find it's China. So your capacity to produce more does not stop you from engaging in international trade. And go and also Google who is the second largest producer of the same product, rice. You see that it's United States. And who is the second? And it is also second in importation. So it is wrong.
So while they produce, they also...
Who told you not to...
But they have serious protection for the farmers.
They have good agricultural planning from the research centers to production and processing. And they have good policies of import. The best way to enjoy modern economy is to engage in tariff war and generate money.
What America is doing.
Exactly. You don't need to block borders and block all kind of trade. You take many people. Farming is one job. And it is not expected that every Nigerian must go to farm. It's a wrong perception. What we need, good land policy, mechanization of agriculture, and then introduction of different subsidy facilities to facilitate production so that we can sell cheaper within the economy and then cheaper outside.
Okay, you can see, Yushau.
Yes.
You know, invariably, this is what the President Tinubu government is doing. Of course, there was earlier a timeline as to when to stop the, importation. But they are still importing, which you said is not really wrong.
Yeah.
But then back home now, farmers, nothing for them. There is no subsidy on fertilizer, no subsidy on pesticide. There is no even subsidy on security.
I know.
You have your farmland, you can't even access it. Now the few that can manage to, go to farm in the outskirts of their homes, now I don't think if they will be able to go back to those farms next cropping season. Many are going to markets now. If you go to Dawanau, you see a farmer who has taken his, a truckload of maize or rice or whatever. So maybe shedding tears while going back home because what they dispose will not give them back what they invested in the farms. So who is the government really aware that if we are not careful, this policy will end up bringing the famine that you spoke about earlier in this program? Because for how long will we continue to import while the farmers back home are becoming jobless?
See, the policy of the argument about importation, people don't bring argument of exportation. We are exporting what we produce.
Well, he also said it,
most of the
independence.
Yes.
The president said, we are trying to actually find out whether it's true we are exporting anything.
Nobody. It's the same government that has introduced our yam to the world. And we are exporting yam. Do you understand? There are staple food that are constant in Nigerian economy. Their prices are normally what takes a lot of household to have food on the table. But importation, some have invested in Nigeria because of good production line. Our goods are easily marketed abroad and they are taking them. So I don't have problem with that. What I have problem is that same farmer who wants to go to farm and who also want to continue farming. But government has to bring measures to allow these people to be farming. Like I told you, the concept of saying that the agri produce good must be expensive is wrong. Let me tell you, one fundamental thing that people doesn't even know, and we are not looking into it, is that what is the metric ton requirement of food in this country? If you take rice, what is the required metric ton for 239 million population? And at what price? And what is the average income in Nigeria? So once you are to stabilize and allow people to eat, if you are to protect, you either choose to protect farmers and allow people to die in hunger.
Okay, why is it that the economic variables are not aligning in Nigeria? In some places you see economic variables that is process of demand and supply. Why am I asking this? Part of what the World Bank said is that, okay, Nigeria's economy expanded by 3.9% year on year. In 2025, up from 3.5, meaning about 4%. Exactly. Yeah. This is on one hand.
Yeah.
It also said the reserve has, ballooned to
43.
243. Here we have 42 billion
US dollars.
Yeah. Now, these are positive indicators.
Yeah.
But now, on the other side, the poverty level has risen. Where is the missing link?
The missing link, all these economies that have succeeded in stabilizing prices so that farmers can gain and then consumers can consume with their income, is the removal of speculators. You cannot, if you allow speculators in your exchange rate will never be down, because they will always try to bring one or two cogent reason that is not needed. That's exactly what happened in our distribution mechanism. Some individuals, because of right from the coronavirus pandemic period, people began to understand the importance of stocking food for price benefit.
Manipulation, yes.
Manipulation.
But you can see now, especially between last year and now, those speculators have been wiped out also. In fact, they are living in fear.
Yes.
And this is why...
And that is what allowed food to be cheaper.
But cheap to what extent? That is where we are having problem. And I'm sure by the time we open the telephone line, if we are lucky, the internet, connectivity is good, we will hear what people will say. You don't have because the middlemen now, they don't even want to invest because many of them could not recoup all the money they invested in mopping up the markets, thinking that after 3-4 months, they will have some gains. Now that new crops are out, the old ones could not even be sold. Multiple jeopardy for the middlemen.
And there is bumper harvest.
Okay.
Yes, there is bumper. Even the sweet potato, the Irish potato.
Is actually, seasonal. This thing.
No matter what, there is bumper harvest of many agri produce. There is bumper harvest, and it is visible from beans to maize, to rice, to other perishables. We have seen drop. Look, Malang Hamza, it's good for farmers to have money, but it's good also for greater number of population that are poor to access food. The metric ton of food required, up to now, those who know me, they know that I am speaking from experience. I was a farm manager when we are selling bag of maize at 13 naira, 1983, during Back to the Land. Our father in Galemo Farms Nigeria Limited in Zaria, the amount of food stocked for our own food security at home None of us in the entire family can keep one.
This time around.
This time around. Why? A lot of factors. So what I'm trying to tell you, if a person like me, this grammar that I'm speaking is corn, is maize money that is sold, I paid, I went to school. It's not salary, it's not anything from government coppers. It's farm, it's from farm. So I'm speaking with a fashion. And the fashion of an economist who is also a physiocrat. I believe in agriculture, but I don't believe that because you want to maintain agriculture, you are to maintain high prices, which will not allow consumers to consume. Today, Malamza, if you make an indices, those listening, they should check their stores, whether they have food.
Yeah.
In the olden days, everybody has food. That is what is called food security.
But now people don't have
People
food.
don't have food.
Okay. Now, the World Bank gave some, advice, pieces of advice that first, the federal government should tackle food inflation by removing trade barriers such as imports, bans, and excessive duties, while addressing structural bottlenecks in seeds input supply, security, logistics, and infrastructure, including transport, power, storage, and cold chains. Meaning we are in deep trouble up till now.
Who do you want to tell you that we are in deep trouble once your income, 70% is going on food, those that have income? And
but beyond that, what I'm saying is the government is, wherever President Tinubu visits, he will say that we have turned the corner. But do we have, input supply? Do we have seeds for the farmers?
What type of seed?
Do we have electricity?
We don't have.
Do we have logistics and infrastructure?
We don't have.
Do we have power?
We don't have.
Do we have storage facilities?
We don't have.
So what are we talking about?
What we are talking about now is a challenge. The World Bank is talking to the government. Please, government, you have made substantial progress in all this economic reform, fiscal and monetary. Please consider people of Nigeria who have a right upon you to protect them and to secure them. Now, all these indices that World Bank told us is what has developed by Meta, the chief economist. The chief economist is not greater than me as a Nigerian that know that in all household, any household you check, they don't have food. Are you getting it? And if you don't have food and you don't have money, and 70% of your money, the crisis is simple. Where is the money going? It's going into this reform. And
reform of what, for instance?
Once we mention energy reform, we are talking about petrol subsidy removal and the outcome of subsidy removal, which has been shared.
And when they removed it, when they removed the subsidy, what they promised, for instance, and this is what...
This is exactly what...
Fine-tune logistics, provide transportation for people and all that. And as we speak, you can't even count 30, buses, that can take 50 people at the same time. In Abuja, the federal capital.
If I should be sincere to you,
yes,
I don't even buy the idea that government can provide. If government is too poor for government to come and start transporting 239 million people to their school, to their businesses, it cannot be possible. 10, 20, 30, what are we talking about? What we are looking, build the infrastructure, bring policies that people can access farm and go back to farm. Bring policies that will reduce cost of input in agriculture so that the population that is not trained can continue to be on the persistent farming and then continue peasant farming. But what is more critical about all this report is the fact that government rejected it.
And they don't want to listen.
And no, it's not that they don't want to listen. Even government has done many things which World Bank fail to even acknowledge.
But you know, this is the first time you show that the World Bank is actually coming for the head of the government. All through for the past 2 years, whenever they are passing verdict, they will say positive, continue with the reform, continue with the reform.
You know, they are independent. The World Bank is an independent body, but professional. And no matter how professional they are, what I am trying to tell you is that they are even in deficit of what government has done. The import duty exemptions. I personally went to the Federal Ministry of Finance and facilitated the importation of rice mills.
But you can know they are laying fallow now, most of the varieties, because they can't even break even. Going by some of the policies.
The number of rice mills in Nigeria, because of the advantage of high pricing. You can't start business because of advantage of high price. You start business because it is your own, and there is time to make profit and there is time to make loss. And if you cannot operate on that, you cannot succeed in any business.
Probably that's why they are suffering also.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, Yushau, viewers, this is the right time for us to open the telephone line for you to call in and give us your take on the back and forth between the World Bank and the federal government of Nigeria vis-a-vis you, the consumer, you, the farmer, and then you, the economist, in your own right. Use the telephone number that will be displayed on your screen, but go straight to the point. Don't use foul language. Thank you. Yushau, the other issue which the World Bank advised that improve efficiency of public spending through greater fiscal transparency, stronger discipline in federal account deductions, and a national pact to align fiscal policy with development objectives, especially human capital investments.
Good.
Now, the federal government, state governors, local government chairmen, they are getting almost 4 or 5 times of what they were getting pre-Tinubu era. Pre-Tinubu era. Pre-Tinubu era. Yeah, I'm referring to Buhari era.
Yeah.
But you and I know that our purchasing power has been completely wiped out.
Yes.
But governors, ministers and all that, they are swimming in money.
They are swimming in money because they are being shared, because the sharing goes on increasing. In last August, over 2.2 trillion is shared to the tiers of
which
government.
Is almost 4 times.
4 times. And that is why the World Bank, I have also called them. I have even spoken to the Deputy Governor, Central Bank, calling his attention that you are trying to take liquidity out of the economy. And this sharing is bringing liquidity. And this liquidity is coming back to bring another danger to the inflation. Because the more liquidity is shared between the tiers of government, the more potential to change.
That is when it is not properly channeled, because the allegation is that most of them, when they get the naira, they just go to zone 4.
And that is why I was the foreign exchange stability. And that's exactly what I'm trying to speak. These are the gains the central bank, the World Bank is telling government. We are aware you remove subsidy. We are aware that you have additional income.
But
we
it's
are aware.
Not trickling
but even after being shared, all the budget, there is high deficit in them. And let me give you another warning that the bank is giving.
Okay, before you give us, we have our first caller on the program. Hello, welcome to Daily Politics on Trust TV.
Good evening.
You are welcome, and let's have your name and what is your take?
My name is Yushau Aliyu from Kefi, Nasarawa State.
From Kefi, Nasarawa, okay. Aliyu, you are welcome.
Yes. Yeah, thank you very much. This is a very interesting discussion.
Okay.
Yeah, looking at the report of the World Bank on the poverty level, this is not news. We have had a growing population of people who are stricken by poverty based on World Bank reports in the last 1 decade or so. And with the economic situation in the country, you don't expect that there's any improvement. We are not surprised that the number is still at only 139 million or thereabout as reported by the World Bank.
You think the number is higher, Salisu?
Sorry?
I mean, you think the number is higher? It's more than 139?
It should be higher than this.
Why? What are your reasons?
Because the economy has been on the decline. the economy has been on a decline, Hamza.
Why do you think then? Yes.
In the last 10 years, if you check the reports of the World Bank, you would have seen that we have been reporting more than 100 million people in Nigeria affected by multi-poverty and multidimensional poverty. And then coming to this level, what are the interventions put by government to improve the poverty situation in the country? You find that it is virtually nothing. So what is the expectation? The expectation is that more people are being captured within the poverty bracket. So 139 is, that means we're still living, I don't know whether it's voodoo economists or what they're doing, I don't know.
Okay,
but the expectation from me is that government should have looked at this report critically and see what are the areas that need to be touched.
Yes, which
Yushau is talking about the expensive or the high cost of agricultural produce. When you look at the value chain in agriculture in this country, it's disconnected. If you want to apply anything by way of subsidy, where are you going to put it? Is it at the producer entry level or at the exit level? So what are we actually pursuing here?
So give prescription. What is the way forward?
You want a farmer to buy fertilizer at 50,000 naira per bag and sell maize at 25,000 or 20,000.
What is the way forward?
Is that fair?
What is the
way forward?
Yes.
As far as I'm concerned, the government should strengthen farmer groups into viable and functional cooperatives so that they can take up the responsibility of organizing themselves and sourcing funds for themselves to operate. In other countries, that's what happens.
Not free money.
India, you see, not free money at all. Free money.
All right, Salisu, thank you.
And there should be some level of protection equally, which may be in form of import ban or border closures and so on and so forth.
Now you have differed your ways with Yushau, because Yushau will say yes, we shouldn't actually close our borders. We should allow import.
We cannot afford to be a dumping ground. We cannot afford to be a dumping ground, because when you bring in cheaper commodities, you are counteracting your own farmers. You are sending them out of job.
All right.
And then the quality and standard of what you are getting into the country, you cannot guarantee it.
All right. Thank you very much. Let's give the opportunity to other callers to also have a word or two. But maybe before we get the next call, I wanted to say, people, because I received some text messages here that, look, we can't exonerate World Bank from the blame, because up to now, no single country all over the world that took prescriptions of World Bank and prosper. You just have to part ways with the World Bank at one point or the other and face the reality.
World Bank is not the one that is designing our policies. When we choose to enter Boko Haram, it's not World Bank that advise anybody. When we choose to go into banditry, it's not World Bank. So we have right to make our decision. Rwanda was able to do that. Paul Kagame is an African and have better and have worse scenario than Nigeria. But today they have organized their farms. A local farmer is producing and selling.
And it's being protected.
And it's being,
How is he being protected? Do they have marketing boards?
You see, once you mention protectionism, that is where your problem will start.
All right. Yushau, we have another caller. Hello, welcome to the program.
Good evening, Mala, Hamza, and your guest.
Yushau,
Thank
yes.
you.
Who is on the line?
My name is Abakar, calling you from Ogolaja.
Okay.
Formally, I would like to lodge a complaint. The time we started this show, we can't see your features, and the conversation is distorted. So your engineer should rectify the issue.
Okay, is it the audio or the video that you are having challenge with?
Both the audio and the video.
Okay, but you can see we just received, probably the problem should be at your end, because we just had a wonderful conversation with Dalade Salisu, who called...
From Kefi.
Yeah, from Kefi.
You know, there are two formats. Okay. Some belong to, what do you call it, this commercial network provider, DSTV or whatever. and they are independent bouquet.
Okay.
So I think we belong to that other side.
All right, now let's go to the subject matter of the day. We'll try and look into that. Now, what is your take on this World Bank prescription about Nigeria?
The figure or data presented by World Bank is understated data. Just few Nigerians, about 1% of Nigerian population, they are living affluent. They are enjoying current economic program. They call it social reform. What is social reform? If people are not better off, if there is no general prosperity, if economy is not flourishing, you are talking of what is the price of fertilizer? Now we are experiencing inflation, energy-driven inflation. Companies are closed down because cost of energy. Madam Hamza, you know how much your media center spend every day on diesel to fuel your machine, your generator. So it's created widespread poverty. Most of the policies of this government are not friendly. It is causing more hardship, destroying source of resources of Nigeria, creating abject poverty both in the cities and the rural communities. I imagine that by next year, with the current price of fertilizer, many people will not go into farming. It is a dangerous precedent. We hope they will rectify things before it goes into the war.
All right, thank you.
People are suffering.
Thank
people
you.
Are suffering.
All right, Abubakar, thank you very much. Okay, now back to you, Yushau. The last point raised as way out by the World Bank, of course, is they said expanding and institutionalizing social protection, including regular domestically financed cash transfers for the ultra poor and a shock responsive safety net system to help households manage crisis.
I'm not a proponent of conditional cash transfer. What I'm a proponent of giving people the right things to operate, because conditional cash transfer is temporal.
And you know, most of the monies we borrowed,
and we are borrowing, and we cannot borrow, and we cannot borrow to share. Look, Mala Abdullahi, people fail to understand that for us to have our income reasonable to our standard of living, we don't have to spend 70% of individual income on food. Even now, it's costlier. But the input, like I said, a caller said, why do I emphasize a subsidy in agriculture? How? It's simple. Look, we have large foreign reserve of 43 billion. If we have large foreign, the reason why fertilizer is costly, we are importing it. And people are not talking about importing the fertilizer itself. We import it from Ukraine and Russia. And people are not talking, and they're talking about importing food to eat. Okay, while we are importing the material for agriculture, and we are not doing it here. Until when we have the capacity to do it here, and Dangote and other refineries can do this. We had a situation.
What is happening to Dangote?
Yes, I don't want to dwell on that because
allegations that government is also not with him.
Yes, so let me tell you the simple model. In my own opinion,
yes,
we are importing fertilizer. This import, the reason why the price is high because our exchange rate is high. Central bank should intervene and look at the tonnage, metric tons requirement of this input, and then use the gains we have and bring them and sell them.
We should import
because all the argument.
Do you think we don't have the capacity to produce?
We don't have the capacity to produce what to eat. We don't have the capacity.
No. I'm talking about even fertilizer.
Even the fertilizer we don't have. We are importing from Europe. And that's why I'm saying that. And that is why it's attributed to foreign exchange. So, and I'm trying to give a simple solution. Central bank, we have 43 billion. Take $2 billion. Import the required. But people should understand that if we continue to even import, you are counting, we say we are importing, we are dumping ground. So we are even dumping ground of the fertilizer and the pesticide. and the tractors, because we are not producing them there here.
So, well, this is a poser from you, and I wish we have more time to dwell on them. But thank you very much, Yushau Aliyu, for coming.
Thank you very much.
And for actually taking the conversation down to the grassroots, so that the large chunk of our readers will really, viewers will understand where we're heading to and what needs to be done. Thank you very much.
And thank you, I'm grateful.
And viewers, that's a wrap on today's edition of Daily Politics. See you next time. I'm Hamza Idris from here. Good night.